also called for a feature match. So I believe these good friends and teammates, Team Sealed Open champions, along with Huey Jensen, are playing next to each other. And Owen's opponent is Chris VanMeter, no stranger to the Open Series. He is from back in the day, from several years ago. He was a big grinder on the Open Series along with Jerry Thompson, AJ Soccer, and the rest of them. Took a little time off, but now he also is in Roanoke, and that's why he's on Sneak and Show. This is a deck that most of those guys were on, including Brian Braun-Duin, Jerry Thompson, and of course the Invitational champion Brad Nelson. So kind of Roanoke Sneak and Show here versus Owen Turtenwald with blue, white, red Delver.
Now Owen Turtenwald playing up one of my picks for one of the two best decks in Legacy, and I base this largely on the result of the New Jersey Invitational from not so many months ago. Just watching this deck play again and again, it has a lot of game against basically everyone, and one of the things that Chris VanMeter is hoping to do is follow in the footsteps of the whole Roanoke crew, the Roanoke crew plus William Jensen, all four of whom played Sneak and Show and ended up dominating the archetypes of our top 8 in the Invitational, which was top 8 Legacy.
Yeah, certainly true. We saw them play Sneak and Show to great success. Both players starting off with Ponders on turn 1. CVM, that's Chris VanMeter, also with a Gitaxian Probe, and now he's just going to jam a turn 2 Show and Tell off of an Ancient Tomb. Owen Turtenwald has a Force of Will, exiling another Ponder.
A little fight here. Is it going to stop with that Force of Will? I don't think I see anything to keep the fight going from Chris VanMeter. Looks like that's going to do it, and we're going to go to the next turn for Owen Turtenwald. Dodging the bullet this time. Will he be able to stop the next attack from Chris VanMeter?
Yeah, so Chris getting the read, or perhaps he has scouted out his opposition. Of course, Tundra, you know it's not going to be a mirror match, a Sneak and Show mirror, so feeling pretty safe to just go with a turn 2 blind Show and Tell, really. And now he's going to follow up. He's got another one in his hand.
He's got a mountain in his hand. He's going to lay that. I believe I see a sneak attack in his hand.
And jam again. Show and Tell.
This gets a Spell Pierce out of Owen Turtenwald's hand. Passes the turn back. Owen Turtenwald untaps. You can see his hand looks like triple Stoneforge Mystic and then land.
So CVM has gone turn 2 Show and Tell, turn 3 Show and Tell off of the power of that Ancient Tomb. He has been taking some damage for it. Owen Turtenwald with counter spells, Force of Will, and then Spell Pierce is the answers. And now he really needs to get a threat going. I believe he's out of counter spells.
Yeah, 3 Stoneforge Mystics. Not so great. Mulligan to Zero on Twitter says, Sneak and Shownoke? I will share that despite the silliness of it. Make sure that you join us on Twitter at SCG Live and the hashtag SCGInvy. We do pay attention to our Twitter feed. We see now a Stoneforge Mystic, 1 of 3 from Owen Turtenwald. Going to quickly fetch up one of the 2 main deck artifacts, one of the 2 main deck equipment, Batterskull, the other one being Umezawa's Jite.
I would probably go with Snoke and Show. Noke is actually another nickname for Roanoke, Virginia, where Star City Games is headquartered and most of these players have come from. And of course, Star City itself is a nickname for Roanoke, Virginia, which is where Star City Games gets its name from. It is not named after the DC city where I believe Green Arrow is from.
Huh. Is this a 3rd Show and Tell? I think this one might land.
Yeah, I think...
And he puts down a sneak attack, and the sneak attack is going to immediately then be activated. We're going to see, there it is, Emrakul. Emrakul's going to annihilate Owen Turtenwald's board.
Unless he has a
Stifle is the only way out of it, and Stifle no longer in Owen's list. The normal version of this list, I shouldn't say the normal, the original version of this list by Eric Smith ran 4 Stifle. Owen Turtenwald's version runs 0 Stifle, eschewing that Stifle in favor of an extra Swords to Plowshares, an extra Force of Will, and then an extra Ponder, and I believe an extra land.
So what we saw there, Owen Turtenwald lightning bolts Chris VanMeter and then takes the hit from Emrakul, takes the Annihilator, takes the damage, still at 3 life. I'm not going to say comfortably at 3 life, but this is very important to remember. You don't give up just because an Emrakul is coming.
Yeah, unfortunately for Owen, there is still a Gristlebrand in Chris VanMeter's hand.
Yeah.
So things are looking bad for Owen Turtenwald in this game.
And just playing the game straight up or a little bit of gamesmanship, Chris VanMeter not just showing the Gristlebrand, going through everything, activates and attacks.
A quick packing it up from Owen Turtenwald. Goes to his sideboard. We'll go to his sideboard with him. We've got his sideboard includes 3 Rest in Peace, 2 Pyroblast, 1 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Meddling Mage, 2 Ethersworn Canonist, 1 Geist of Saint Traft, 1 Sword of Feast and Famine, 1 Grim Lavamancer, 1 Grafdigger's Cage, and 1 Wear Tear.
Okay, CVM sideboard, 2 Swansong, 2 Pyroclasm, and then we get to the meat. 3 Blood Moon, 2 Red Elemental Blast, 3 Through the Breach, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Echoing Truth. So that Blood Moon against these 3-color Delver decks, whether it's Rug or blue, white, red, is going to do quite a lot of work against the mana base with no basics.
Blood Moon's certainly a very powerful card, as is Red Elemental Blast. On Owen's side of the board, the Pyroblast and the Red Elemental Blast, definitely both very valuable. But also, Meddling Mage is quite powerful in this kind of matchup. There are 2 major cards to name, and that would be Show and Tell and Sneak Attack. And Chris VanMeter, if he knows that Owen Turtenwald has Meddling Mage, could consider adding in Through the Breach as a way to get around cards like that. But one of the things to think about is the more time that Owen's deck has, the more likely that he's going to be able to have assembled a pretty solid package of counter magic. Owen Turtenwald's list running 4 Spell Pierces main, and after sideboard, those 3 additional blasts are quite effective.
So Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast. So I said it might have been gamesmanship. It's also the fact that these players do not have their full deck list, opponent's full deck list. So CVM playing it out because he actually is not sure if Owen Turtenwald is dead to the Gristlebrand. Just wants to make sure and maybe see an extra card and go through the motions because of that reason. And these players here at 6 and 1. This is round number 8. There are 9 rounds of Swiss in the Legacy Open.
There in the background, you can see just to the left of Owen Turtenwald, Reed Duke has finally begun play. That other feature match is one that was delayed by a quick deck check. If you're not familiar with organized play, for the most part, anyone can be subject to a deck check. It's a random thing that we do in order to make sure that the tournaments have a level of integrity that you can count on.
Sure, and while the show must go on, so must the checking for integrity, as you said. Very important. I mean, these are the matches where we certainly don't want any mistakes to be made or anyone to be cheating in any kind of fashion.
It's Chris VanMeter on the left, up 1 game right now. These players are both 6 and 1 in this 9-round Legacy Open Series event, and either of them would be eliminated by a loss from contention.
Yeah, it's approximately 390 players. I've heard various numbers in the 380s to 390s. The cut for 10 rounds would be somewhere in the 410s, I believe, if I recall correctly. So very close to that cut, meaning it's very tough and pretty much impossible, right, for any X2 to make it in.
Yeah, it's going to be, it would take more than a Christmas miracle.
Well, speaking of Christmas, Star City Games is taking pre-orders for the holiday gift box, Adrian. These are going to ship out on November 15th, so it's not just Christmas. It could be for the Thanksgiving holidays, Hanukkah, etc. These are Theros holiday gift boxes. They feature 4 Theros booster packs. There's a box that can hold over 2,000 magic cards, very similar to the Fat Pack deck box. It says 20 Theros basic lands. I believe that may be 20 of each basic land. 6 illustrated plastic dividers, a sticker sheet for customizing the dividers, perhaps with various mana symbols, and an alternate art Kara Metra's Acolyte from Theros, available in that gift box. So go to StarCityGames.com, look for holiday gift box. Those are $19.99.
Nice. Now, Owen Turtenwald, a player I've known for many, many years. He's a Milwaukee area player, though these days it feels hard to call Owen being from anywhere because he travels quite a bit.
Is he still based out of Milwaukee?
You know, honestly, I'm not sure where he's based out of these days because for the most part it seems like every week that I see him, it's in a different city.
Yeah, and his good friend and teammate Huey Jensen is in Las Vegas. Where's Reed these days? The New York, New Jersey area, I think? Well, who knows? Owen from the internet, or maybe we can say he's from a tournament near you. And he is a former Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's actually his winning of the Player of the Year race captured on film in the Walking the Plains, the Nathan Holt and his brother Sean, them making an amazing video, Magic the Gathering World Championship video, well worth watching if you are looking for some fun after this tournament's over.
Are you going to mention the trophy?
No, I'll let you watch the video.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's a little Easter egg in there about his Player of the Year trophy.
Chris VanMeter fetching, using the Scalding Tarn to get an island. You can see a Delver of Secrets on Owen Turtenwald's side of the table. So it's a land and a Delver of Secrets versus a single island. I'm sure Chris VanMeter is going to do a little bit of library manipulation.
Oh, and there you see in CVM's hand, he has sideboarded in Blood Moon. That is a killer against a 3-color deck with no basics. So we'll see if there is a counter war over that later on.
Pyroclasm drawn by Chris VanMeter as well. Pyroclasm kills nearly all of the threats that Owen Turtenwald can produce. The only thing that survives it is a Batterskull Germ.
That's a bit ironic. The 0/0 Germ survives because it is wearing this Batterskull, whatever that is. Oh, flip. Blind flip.
Spell Pierce revealed. In comes the 3/2 Insectile Aberration. It knows the secret.
Yeah, Owen Turtenwald has a clock here now, flipping his Delver of Secrets on turn 2, attacking for 3. So now that Pyroclasm may need to be fired off a bit sooner than CVM was planning. We'll see if he wants to go with the Pyroclasm on turn 2. Or be a little bit more patient. He's just going to run it out because we do see he had another Pyroclasm, and also he may want to clear the way of counterspells for Blood Moon.
I mean, I think that playing this right away makes a lot of sense. One of the things that Owen Turtenwald's deck tries to do when it's operating in this fashion is it tries to put down a clock and shut the game down quickly. So if you wait, you just might run out of time to do the things you want to do.
Yeah, especially against this combo deck, which can just really come out of nowhere on turn as early as turn 2. Well, turn 1 if you have enough Lotus Petals, but usually around turn 3 or 4, the sneak attack sneaks something out. So Owen has cast Brainstorm in response to Pyroclasm, threatening to destroy his Insectile Aberration. So he's going to decide if he wants to fight over this, and he says no. Going to let it die, so maybe some more threats on top of Owen's library.
And Owen fetches. Remember, he's already cast that Brainstorm, and he's following up with this fetch land, shuffling away 2 cards that he decided were not worthy of his hand anymore. The fastest clock that Owen could potentially produce on the next turn, well, truly the fastest clock would be as if he laid triple Insectile Aberration and then, or Delver of Secrets, and then they all flipped into Insectile Aberration. But more reasonably speaking, a single Geist of St. Traft would produce a 3-turn clock. Of course, Chris VanMeter has both Blood Moon and another Pyroclasm in hand, both of which are problem cards for Owen. Owen just passes the turn, though. We'll see what comes next.
Yeah, it's the fact that Chris used a Pyroclasm as a 1-for-1 answer to that Delver of Secrets a little bit of a giveaway that he has another?
I honestly
Or
don't
you
think
feel
so.
that no matter
I
what,
mean,
he would have gone for
yeah,
that?
I mean, you have to Pyroclasm on turn 2 there. If you try to wait for more to happen, it might not ever happen, and then suddenly you're Pyroclasming out of desperation, and that's just not worth it.
Right, and at that point, it might get countered. You might have given your opponent time to draw a counterspell for the Pyroclasm. So yeah, this is not like standard where you might wait a little bit longer to see if your opponent commits more threats. Saying you just want to trade 1-for-1, especially for the combo deck, which is so explosive. Don't want to die with answers in your hand.
We see the Geist of St. Traft we were talking about not so long ago.
Yeah, that's 2/2 hexproof, but every time it attacks, puts a 4/4 angel onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, so it is essentially attacking for 6. Fantastic 3-mana threat.
3 Blood Moons in hand now for Chris VanMeter.
Interesting.
He didn't cast one last turn. Looks like, I think he wanted to try to maybe land that in a moment where Owen was vulnerable, but there, I think with having 2 Blood Moons before and a Pyroclasm, I would have liked to have just pushed it out there and seen what I could get out of Owen Turtenwald for it.
Yeah, Brad Nelson, the Invitational champion, was talking about what he called the shove mentality or shove strategy, where you just keep going fast, aggression. And this is a combo deck, but in this case, just shoving out the Blood Moons continuously. And if they don't have an answer, fabulous.
Now
You've landed a Blood Moon.
You see Owen Turtenwald shuffling. He's just fetched in response to this Blood Moon. He has 1 Spell Pierce in hand, which he's probably going to use. And now look at Chris VanMeter's life total, 15. That's going to go down by a good 6 in a moment, and he'll be down to 9. Now imagine he had not Pyroclasmed before. That would mean he would be instead at 6 life. And so while it's possible that the Pyroclasm might have gotten a 2-for-1 on the next turn, for example, it's also possible Owen might just counter it and kill him.
Yeah.
So instead, Chris VanMeter, he's going to go down to 9 and still have a comfortable little cushion of life where he's not dead.
Waiting, he may have walked his Pyroclasm into the Spell Pierce that we just saw counter the Blood Moon.
Down to 9. 2 attacks to kill Chris VanMeter now. And again, if he had not Pyroclasmed, it would only be a single attack required to kill him. Owen exits the combat step. Goes back to main phase. Main phase 2. Stoneforge Mystic, perhaps? Lays a land. Stoneforge Mystic.
Alright, Stoneforge Mystic gonna search up Sword of Feast and Famine. That is the equipment of choice for killing control/combo opponents.
It's a very dangerous card. You can't stick around, wait to see what happens if a Sword of Feast and Famine's hitting you.
Yeah, the protection from green and black not relevant. +2/+2, decently relevant, but it's that discard ability eating away at the combo player's hand who may have been carefully sculpting it to try to win. There's the other Pyroclasm.
We see a fight. Force of Will tossing Ponder. And I think that's going to get a Force of Will tossing Ponder back.
He needs to. This is a deadly board. Not quite lethal.
And Pyroclasm clears the way. Back to Owen Turtenwald. Chris VanMeter at 9 life. Owen Turtenwald at 16. A Sword of Feast and Famine in hand. Looks like he's casting that and passing the turn. Chris VanMeter now going to have an opportunity to drop not only a land, but also a Blood Moon.
Yeah, Owen Turtenwald has a sword, but no one to wield it.
Chris VanMeter drops to 8 using a Misty Rainforest. And a second island. Remember, Blood Moon turns all non-basics into mountains. That's not mountains in addition, that's mountains instead of.
Yeah, it's just going to blank them.
Now, what's important to remember, not in this matchup, but in other matchups, other traits of those lands do not go away. So they still have their name, and they still are legendary or not, or they're still artifact lands or not. Ponder from Chris VanMeter. Owen Turtenwald completely shut out of any ability to cast his colored mana spells. This leaves him with only the following spells he can cast. Force of Will by pitching a spell, Lightning Bolt, Batterskull, Umazawa's Jite, and then from the sideboard, his Red Blasts. And Grim Lavamancer, which he probably did not sideboard in, so unlikely to see that show up.
So now, I mean, Owen got the Sword of Feast and Famine because that is the equipment you want if you've got creatures out. But if he had gotten Batterskull instead, he does have 5 lands now. He could have been able to hard cast a Batterskull and now be attacking Chris VanMeter's life total with the Germ.
There's the 6th land for Owen Turtenwald. He passes the turn. There's a sneak attack from Chris VanMeter. He casts it. Do you have a Force of Will or not? Not.
Okay, with a Gristlebrand in hand, next turn he's going to sneak that in.
Wow, he did board in the Grim Lavamancer. That's surprising to me. I mean, perhaps he thought to himself, you know what? If Blood Moon happens, at least I'll have a guy.
Maybe. But in that case, should get the Batterskull.
There we go. Both creatures, one Gristlebrand, one Emrakul. He reveals them. Owen Turtenwald offers the hand right away. And Owen Turtenwald is defeated 2-0 by Chris VanMeter.